Hi, I'm Dave Epstein. Welcome to this edition of Growing Wisdom. I'm in one of the greenhouses at Barry's Greenhouse. It's a wholesale operation, and they're potting up little plugs today, basically taking plants which they ordered, they got in, they put these in a pot, they let them grow, and then they sell them to landscapers, and maybe they'll end up in your house. So why are we here? Well, for one thing, it's interesting, and it's interesting to see how this whole process takes place. This is what happens all across the country in the spring to get you some of your plants, but also to learn a little bit about how they care for their small plants and how you too can care for your plants and keep them healthy. I have in my hands an impatiens plug, and this is a great little plant for shady areas. You have to watch out. There's some funguses out there that can affect them, but in general, it's a pretty good plant for the shade. It gives you plenty of flowers, and obviously, this will get a lot bigger before it's sold. A few things I want you to notice. One, look at all the roots here. So it's got some very tight roots. They're not moving it into bigger pots until it gets to this stage. Now, that's important, because when you pot up your plants, when you buy them at home, they'll probably have a lot of roots like this. You want to break the roots a little bit, put it in its new home, and let that plant really take over an area. The great thing about a lot of roots in an area is that you really have a harder time overwatering it because there's so many roots in the small area, they'll be taking up a lot of water. When you put these into their new homes, as we can see here, you have to be real careful about watering. You don't want things to be too wet because that promotes disease. So during the spring and summer months, especially the first half of summer, plants really grow a lot. There's added light, the plants are really responding to the light, and you can see in the greenhouse here, we have two sides. One side is about a week older than the other, and the plants are exponentially bigger, so it gives you a great idea of how quickly things are going to grow in just a few weeks after you buy them. It's important when you put your plants into your containers or window boxes that the soil has plenty of nutrients. So if you're using the same space year after year, what I like to do is take out some of the soil and maybe add some compost or add some slow release fertilizer. By adding those nutrients to the soil, the plant will have them and thrive. One of the problems is some people keep putting the plants into the same exact location. You never change out the soil. The plant's taking all the nutrients out of the soil all year long, and then when you put it back in year after year after year, you've depleted that area of nutrients. If you're doing this at home, it's basically the same process. Starting a seed, letting it get a little bit larger, moving it into a larger pot, and finally moving it into the ground in your vegetable garden or flower garden. You want to use a lighter soil for your containers, something that will allow the water to really drain through. You don't want to take soil right out of the ground and put it in a container because it will tend to stay too wet. So what have we learned today? We've learned a few things. One is, let your plants get fairly large before you move them into larger containers. If you buy plants ready to go into a pot or a window box, make sure the soil has plenty of nutrients, and also make sure that you're not overwatering things. Letting plants dry out just a little bit before you water them really does promote a lot of growth and promotes a strong and healthy plant. For Growing Wisdom, I'm Dave Epstein.